Hi, and welcome to today's video. I'm Mary Felling, physical therapist. Today I'm going to show you a really great technique that helps relieve pain and stiffness up here on top of the shoulder. That area where we get those knots. This is an area called the upper trapezius or the upper traps, and I'm going to show you what you can do to take care of that. Let's get started. All right, so today you're going to need a few things to help you get into these positions that I'm going to show you for the work up here. One of them is if you can get a tennis ball or something like this. You can use a racquetball ball. You can use a dog's chew toy, as long as it's got some firmness to it, because we're going to be putting pressure onto this area. And the other thing you'll want is something like this. So this is a belt from an old robe, and it's going to help keep the ball in place and keep the pressure going. So it looks like this. So I'm going to sit on one end of the belt, so the weight of my body kind of anchors that down. And the first thing you want to do is find where you either have a tight or tender spot in that upper trap. So you're going to take your fingers and you're going to kind of bend them like this, and you're going to crawl. So this is what I'm doing. I'm taking my fingers and I'm feeling for a really tight or tender spot. So for me, I just found a spot and I can feel it radiating up into the side of my head. So that's a really good spot. What my body just told me is I have something here that's been pulling through the fascial web up into the side of my head. So I'm just going to kind of make a mental note of that spot. And the area you're working with does go in behind your ear, behind your head, all up through here and on top. So a lot of it is a little bit further back than straight on top. So make sure that you test that area too. Go behind the shoulder a little bit. You can kind of see how far back I've gotten. And I'm feeling for that area too. And I did find another really tight spot. So I've got two. I've got one here and one back here. I'm going for the most tender spot. And the way you do that is you're going to take your belt. You're going to sit on one part of it, and that's going to anchor the belt. This is a belt from a robe, but you can use a scarf like I said. So it's going to anchor whatever cloth you're using. And you're going to take your ball and put it right over that spot that you felt that was tender, tight. Put the piece of cloth, whatever you're working with, over the tennis ball. Don't pull down hard to begin with. Just kind of have that set the ball in place. Find out exactly where you need the tension. And then as you pull, so we're going to start that clock. As you pull down, you can, if the ball doesn't stay in place, you might need to use your other hand to hold it there too. But if the cloth is wide enough, it'll be sufficient just to hold that ball in place. And you can see I'm kind of pulling this way because that seems to give me a better angle to get into what I need to. And we've started that clock. And we're going to be in this position with this compression force on that tender, tight area of your upper trap for a minimum of 5 minutes. Today you're going to follow along with me for that 5 minutes. And as I've said in the other videos, we always want to be in a spot a minimum of 5 minutes to help get that electrical flow going, that piezoelectric effect. So when we put a mechanical energy into the body, and in this case, we're just using compression. When we put compression into the human body, after 5 minutes, it elicits this thing called the piezoelectric effect. It's a fancy word, means a bioelectric flow. And that bioelectric flow moves along fascia. Well, when it comes to the area where the fascia has been bound down, dried out, kind of sticky like glue and tight, and causing a lot of compression in the area, which is causing pain and stiffness, it causes that myofascial restriction to soften, rehydrate, and start elongating. And in turn, then there's less pain, more mobility comes back, elasticity comes back to the area. So it's a minimum of 5 minutes. And I always say, stay there longer because we've just gotten the bioelectric flow started. So give it another 2 minutes or so to allow for more releases to happen. So this technique is really good for anyone who has shoulder pain. neck pain. If you have tension headaches can be started from these upper traps along the side, top of your shoulder. So if you're in the middle of a headache, try this and see if you don't help relieve and mitigate some of the tension and the pain from the tension headache. This is really good for if you have stiff shoulders. So some new research has come out recently about what else is happening when you're doing myofascial self-treatment. And what we now know, this is from Dr. Stanley at University of Arizona, is that after about 3 to 5 minutes, besides the fascia releasing, we get a bonus of an anti-inflammatory being released in your system. It's your body's natural anti-inflammatory. It's an interleukin. And they know there's several different interleukins. Interleukin 8 has been suggested, but now they're also saying, well, interleukin 5, interleukin, some other of these natural chemicals that are in our system are released in the area, so it helps for inflammation to die down. And when inflammation is overcome, pain moves out. So you get 2 benefits from staying there over 5 minutes. You get a natural anti-inflammatory, and then you also get the releases and the softening of the knots in your shoulders. Yay! You want to make sure you're soft. Make sure while you're working on your shoulder is soft, because some of the work is coming from your arms. So if you notice, my elbows are dropped down next to the side of my trunk. I'm not holding out here, and I'm holding very close to the top of this piece of material. I'm not holding down here. That's going to take a little bit more energy, but if you're more comfortable because maybe you have pain in your wrists or maybe your elbows, absolutely hold further down the length of whatever you're using. I tend to hold like this because it takes very little effort for me. I just use the weight of I'm holding on tight, and the weight of my arms is enough for me to feel that up there. Now, I'm not going gladiator on my upper traps here. All I'm doing is putting enough of the pressure in so that I feel it. As long as you're feeling it, you're doing some good. You've got the electrical flow. You've got enough compression to help that electrical flow keep going. All right, well, we've come to the end of our 5 minutes. I encourage you to go another 2 or 3 minutes feeling for whatever is happening up in your shoulder, or maybe you're feeling something happening pulling into your jaw, maybe into the back of your head. That's great. It means you're on a really important spot. So thank you for joining me today. If there's any area of the body that you'd like to learn a self-treatment for, please leave a message in the comments below and we'll get that taken care of for you. Thanks for joining me today. Have a wonderful rest of your day.